All right, everybody, welcome. I'm super excited to be here today so I can present Axiom to everybody. My name is Bradesko, and people usually know me as the explosions guy. And I just want to show you why that is the case. So in short, I just like blowing stuff up. That's my job. It's a good job. It's pretty good. I can assure you this is going to be the most explosive talk at GDC this year, 100%. So let's talk about Axiom. It's a sparse GPU accelerated volumetric deterministic fluid solver. Try saying that 3 times fast. It was developed by Matthew Puchala, and now me and Matt, we run Theory Accelerated. It's a software company under which Axiom is being developed. So what is Axiom? I'm going to take it slow, right? We're going to do Axiom 101 here. This is the solver itself. It lives inside of Houdini. So if you have any pre-existing workflows or setups or anything like that, Axiom is just going to work perfectly with everything you are used to using. So this is how Axiom looks like in Houdini. It's just a hamburger on fire. And then you connect it with our simple basic emitter, and you get your first simulation. So this is running in the viewport in real time, but if you really want to get the true speed of Axiom, I always recommend that you cache your simulations, and it will really speed up all the simulation. You're going to get the full power of Axiom. So the next video is going to be a collection. It's kind of like a showreel of our client Showreel. We have clients ranging from AAA studios to indie studios, and a lot of freelancers are all using the full power of Axiom and Houdini. So let's take a look at that. You know you've made it when you have Ryan Gosling in your showreel. Like it's a good sign. All right, so let's start building up our basic emitter. I just made it a bit bigger, added some pressure, added wind, disturbance, turbulence, confinement, and we get something like this. Now, it looks pretty good. Like with a few simple steps, you're going to get a very good looking simulation. You don't have to do a lot of things. We like to do simple workflows, but complex results. And again, if you cache it, you're going to get the full speed of Axiom. It will pretty much be the same speed as the simple emitter that you guys saw in a second. You can see it's just going to speed through it. Quick shout out to Houdini viewport preview. It's very good, especially when you pair it with the new flipbook texture exporter that Mai was showing us a few hours ago. It's going to give you a very good preview, and then you can export it and use it for your games or your other projects. All right, let's get to some of the good stuff. So this is a Cathedral explosion I did. It's actually a full tutorial on our YouTube for free, and I covered the whole thing from compositing, tracking, simulating, like the whole thing, literally a whole production shot. So I just want to quickly show you a trailer. And then I turned that explosion and I put it in slow motion because why not? I think it looks pretty good. So, like I said before, simple workflows, complex results. You can see here, I literally put down 3 Axiom source shapes, like just 3 boxes, merge them together, hook it into Axiom, you get something like this. And then you adjust temperature, you add some pressure, your turbulence, disturbances, and you pretty much get the final result that you saw in the video before. So simple workflows, complex results. Talking about speed, this is the 1-minute explosion. So this takes 1 minute to simulate, and it has 100+ million active voxels. You're gonna need around 8 gigs of VRAM to simulate around 100 million voxels. You can actually download this for free and benchmark your GPU. It's just a way you're going to see how your GPU performs, and you can get the free trial of Axiom also for free, so you can try everything out. And then what I did is I was like, okay, let's make it a bit bigger. Let's add more temperature. Let's sim for a bit longer, and it became the 2-minute explosion, which is not ideal. I know 2 minutes is still pretty good, but we want to stay with 1 minute. This has around 200+ million voxels. It's going to take around 12 gigs of VRAM. And that will give you 250 million voxels, which is pretty good. It's quite a lot. And this is set to 0.05 division size. And if we set it to 0.07, we're going to get back to 1 minute, which is what we want. We want fast, good-looking simulations. And this will have 60+ million active voxels. And you can see between the two explosions, they kind of share a similar vibe. They have the same movement. And that is partially due to the emitter, partially due to Axiom having this shape preservation built in. Another cool feature of Axiom is if you're using Metal or CUDA, Axiom will always stay on your GPU. It will never switch to the CPU. Even when you run out of your VRAM, it's going to actually start offloading to your system memory. So it's pretty cool. It's going to get a bit slower once it starts offloading to system memory because GPU memory is just way faster. But you can see here on this picture, my GPU was completely full, and then it started using the system memory. So yeah, Axiom and Houdini is pretty much, I think, the most, I don't know, like you get all the flexibility of Houdini and the speed and quality of Axiom is, I think it's an unbeatable pair right now on the market. You can see on the left, that's the emitter. So Houdini will give you the power to build custom emitters, do whatever you want. And that will, when you pair it with Axiom, give you super fast explosions and, well, good looking explosions as well. So I call this is my spicy grains emitter. This is how it looks like. This is the setup. And I'm kind of using, all the good stuff that Houdini has to offer, like grains in this example. And I'm creating my grains spicy emitter. So it will give you can see I'm actually doing 3 different grains simulation. One is a bit more misty. This is kind of the core and the secondary shapes. And that will assure that you get your art direction when it comes to explosions. Because we all know, like sometimes explosions can be super random, but with workflows like this, you can make sure that your art direction is on point. A bit more on shape control. So let me pause this for a second. You might say these are 3 very similar looking explosions, and they are. But one of them has like 500 million voxels. One of them has 200 million voxels, and one of them actually has 70 million voxels. And they all look pretty similar, right? Like, it's pretty good. And And the reason why they look so good is also because of the emitter. You're going to see in a second how the emitter looks like, using the spicy grains emitter again. And you can see these are the actual informations on the explosions. So the 70 million one looks quite similar to the half a billion voxel one, but 70 million will take 40 seconds to sim, so it's pretty good. Here's another close-up of the 3 explosions. And I'm doing some sharpening here, post-processor sharpening. So this was a cool project that I wanted to demonstrate how Axiom would work in a real production. So this is an animation I got from Griffin Animation Academy. And the whole point was that I do all the effects in a few hours. And this is something that you would do, you would get a shot like this in production and they will tell you, well, just do all the effects. Usually they would give you probably a week to do all of them. We all know there's always a tight deadline. Even though they say, oh, okay, the next project, we're going to have more time, but never happens, never happens. So Axiom is going to make sure that you meet your deadlines or even finish all of your effects before the deadline. So let's see how that looks. These are the different elements that I've made. Now, in this case, I just simulated them static in the center, and then I copied them to the character. Here are the different elements. Now, pretty much all of these elements took less than a minute or a minute to sim. That's how I was able to do this whole shot in a few hours. A few more elements. And I used a separate simulation just for the sparks, because I was advecting the sparks. And you can see the character kind of farting away through space here. And this is, I would never recommend anybody to do this. This is not efficient at all. But because Axiom, it's so fast, just doesn't matter. You can just, like here, you'll see this is how fast the simulation was when you cache it throughout the whole frame range. So, because I didn't know exactly where I'm gonna emit sparks and then when I'm gonna advect them with volumes, so I just simped the whole thing. And this is again how the shot looks like. All right, Axiom can do fire as well. Actually, it's pretty good at fire. When I initially posted this online, a lot of people thought it was just a plate, that I'm just integrating real fire with some smoke. But no, it's fully simulated. And it takes like 5. I think this one was around 7 minutes to sim because it's super high res. Like this is hitting like 400 million voxels, I think. And some more fire. And again, using Houdini, using that pyro spread, which will give you super cool spreading. Looks very organic, super realistic. The point was to create as realistic fire with this as I could. I think it looks pretty good, at least. And here's proof that it's all CG. It's not a plate. Oh, okay, so this is a French studio called The Yard. They just got, I think it's called the Caesar Award. Like it's a big award in France. And they're using Axiom on a lot of projects that I wish I could show, like super big high-end Hollywood movie projects. And I just wanted, they did too many good things with Axiom. So I couldn't put all of it in the first showreel. So I did a second one just dedicated to them. And Fabian Novak, he's actually the head of effects at The Yard. So Fabian he's an absolute madman. So here's a quick. dramatic. All right, let's go back to some of the pro fire tips that I have for you. So this is that fire that I've made, and usually people ask me, how do you make fire? Well, I break it up into multiple emitters. So you have some of the crunchy spots, and then you have your core. And even the core, as you saw, was created out of 3 different noise passes. Usually the big noise pass is gonna move like this, and it's gonna lift up the temperature every now and then, and that will actually make, it's gonna give some character to your fire. Here's some more fire. So if you're using Axiom and Houdini for games, you're gonna wanna loop your fire. So on the right, I think it's 32 frames, and on the left, it's 64. And again, the goal was to create realistic fire here. So some more examples. Mai actually showed how to use these a few presentations before me on how to use it with the new flipbook texture tool in Houdini. And these are all looping, as you can see. And that's how it looks like in Unreal Engine. So I did a few more loopies. I'm not sure if anybody else calls them loopies, but when I was working on Gears of War 5, we did a bunch of these loopies, and they're like sprinkled all over the game, in cinematics and gameplay. And actually the one at the top, I saw I think it was a breakdown in Star Wars Battlefront, and they had this looping explosion. And the good thing about having a looping explosion is you can spawn it and erode it whenever you want. And that will give you full flexibility. This is just one element, by the way. If you're doing an explosion, you would want other elements like sparks and some shock waves and maybe some more smoke coming up. But this could be your core explosion element, and it will give you a lot of flexibility. Just another example of one of the explosions in Unreal Engine using a 8-point multi-directional contribution. And that's how it looks like when you rotate the light. It looks very volumetric. It looks pretty decent. And another example in Unreal Engine, we created Matthew created a quick explosion like that. It's just done super fast. Put it in Unreal, and then you go crazy with it. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. I've made a full intro workshop for Axiom. It's for free on our YouTube. You can try Axiom for free at theoryaccelerated.com. You can email me at the email on the screen. Please join us on Discord. We have a lot of senior people on Discord, so they're helping all the time. So it's a very nice, vibrant community. And I just want to show you one more thing before we go. It's another tutorial that you can find. So I think at some point that simulation had 1.5 billion voxels. I was like, that's too much. Okay, keep it down. But yeah, the tutorial is for free. You guys can check it out on our YouTube channel, and we give out free the whole project. You can just grab the whole project and go crazy with it. That's it. That's it.
Thanks. Yeah, nice talk, Urban. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're from games, so we're very interested in getting this high fidelity in real time.
Get it by Axiom.
Yeah.
right now?
No, we're definitely working on it, and we really like it. Much better than Emergen as well in terms of quality. That's why we want to go that way.
Yeah.
I have a question about your loopies. Is that built in, or how do you make your Sims loop that can sometimes
It's just a simple setup that I've made. Actually, I'm going to do a tutorial on it very soon. I just need to get back from GDC. But yeah, it's a simple setup, nothing special. I know it's it feels impossible to loop an explosion. So I'm just doing some tricks. I'm literally lowering, I think I was lowering, so the explosion goes up and then I'm lowering, just transforming it down and then looping it somehow. You'll see, it's super simple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, the way I try to do that is that you have your source and the source moves up.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, you can do it like that. See, you don't need me.
I know, but the thing is, what I don't get is that you move it down, but then you still have sort of but I think they fixed it with the new looping, volume loop nodes.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. But in my setup, Mai was saying they added some erosion to the volumes as well, which is very good. That's what I have in my setup as well. Okay. So, but if probably Mai did a better version than what I have.
Yeah.
But I'll do a tutorial for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Could you talk just a little bit about the GPU part of it, and especially when you exceed it by accident?
Exceed it?
Exceed your RAM, your VRAM.
Yeah. So if you have 24 gigs of VRAM, let's say I have a 3090, when you hit that limit, and if you're using CUDA, it's just going to start offloading that RAM to your system memory. So if you have 128 gigs of your system memory, it's going to offload it, simulate the frame, offload it, simulate a frame. So it will never need to switch on the CPU. You can still say switch to the CPU when you exceed, but in most cases, it's just better if you just stay on the GPU. But then it's up, if you have very fast system RAM, the simulation will be even faster.
I'm thinking more about student machines and whether do you have your software in a student environment?
Yeah. You can actually, if you're using Axiom Apprentice, you can get Axiom for free. It's gonna work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Have you tested bringing the VDB inside Unreal?
I haven't tried it yet, but I will. It should work. It's just VDB is VDB. If it works with anything else, it's going to work with Axiom as well. I do need to try it. I know it's getting better and better. I think it's still not good for, it's still a bit performance heavy for if you actually use it in a video game. But maybe for cinematics and stuff like that, it's pretty useful. But I'm sure it's gonna get there very soon.
Thank you.
No more questions?
That's it. Cool. Cheers, guys.